Hey, welcome to the At Nerdvana Live podcast. At Nerdvana Live is a weekly video call-in show streamed via YouTube and Twitch, and it's available as an audio podcast. You can listen to it on iTunes and wherever else you get podcasts. My name's Randy Pitchford. I am your host today. My co-host is Christy Pitchford at Christage.
Hey, guys.
She is the owner of At Nerdvana, so we are squatting in her fine whatever the place, the premises, the place. We're squatting on her business.
My podcast booth?
Her podcast booth.
Right.
And we are broadcasting live from At Nerdvana right here in Frisco, Texas. By the way, At Nerdvana is two things. It's At Nerdvana Coffee Plus Shop, which is right behind us, and At Nerdvana Food Plus Spirits, which is right in front of us. The coffee shop is awesome. They have incredible coffee, single source, locally roasted, and they have board games. And there are people right now playing board games all around this place. The restaurant and bar is video game themed. And last time I ate there, I had my favorite appetizer dish, Hadouken beef, which if you're in the North Texas area, you have to come by and check out. It's pretty amazing. It's really high quality filet cut of delicious beef. But it's called Hadouken beef, of course, after Street Fighter's Hadouken. And the way to do that move, if you play the game, is down, angle, right, and then punch. And the presentation for Hadouken beef, the beef is laid in a strip pointing down, pointing at an angle, pointing to the right, and then there's this really punchy sauce called Hadouken sauce, and that's the punch. And it's just an awesome dish and an awesome presentation. And after the podcast today, Christy and I will be in At Nerdvana. We'll have some dinner with the cast and crew, and if you are in the neighborhood and want to come by and say hi, feel free to find us and say hi and check us out. And but we are perched above the restaurant and the coffee shop. We're in this windowed podcast booth, so if you are here live, don't troll us on the camera behind us unless you really want to. And let's see, the show's going to be about 90 minutes, and we should get right to it. Now, it is a live call-in show. We want your callers. The numbers should be on your screen. If you want to talk to Christy and I about anything at all, we are down. Just call in. We'll get you on the air. Now, my understanding is that Joe, who's our screener, is having a little bit of an issue with the software for screening the calls, but I think that should be resolved any second now. If you're calling in, I think you're in the queue, and he'll get to you as soon as he can. But Christy and I will vamp until that gets sorted. And since I'm comfortable taking any kind of question, are you comfortable taking any kind of question?
I mean, I think so.
That means anything could happen. This is a live show. So, and remember, Christy has all the dirt in the world on me, and I have all
It's not nearly as exciting as you might think.
I've got all the dirt in the world on her, which is more exciting than you could possibly imagine.
Also,
and
he's not allowed to talk about any of it.
We'll see about that. And so call in, and you guys can get dirty with us. And we're going to chat for a few minutes, and we're going to talk about nerd stuff. And if you want to jump in on the topics Christy and I cover, you're welcome to. If you want to raise any other question in the world, you're welcome to when you call in. And anything can happen. It's going to go down. So let's just get started. So how was your holiday break?
Well, my holiday break was delightful. You were there for most of it.
Yes. We spent an inordinate amount of time on the couches next to each other playing video games.
Yes, that is true.
We are fortunate. We're fortunate enough where we each have our own television and each have our own consoles connected to those TVs, so we can play independent games, yet share the same living space. And that's pretty much what we did.
Correct.
And you got through Horizon Zero Dawn finally.
I did. I mean, I worked through the holidays, so I didn't have
That's right.
as relaxing a break. I had a lot going on with the restaurant and the coffee shop. As you can imagine, this is a pretty busy time. So I was here nearly every day. We took Christmas off so everyone could spend it with their families. So that was great.
Yeah.
And but in between, I was sitting reclined with my blanket playing Horizon Zero Dawn. And, you know, it took me a little bit to get into it. And it was actually my second attempt. I attempted to play it.
When it launched.
Right. And I played it for, I mean, I was really busy. So it's not like I really gave it a honest go, but I tried to get into it and I really couldn't at the beginning. And so I shelved it for a while and I played a bunch of other things. I played Assassin's Creed Origins, which I really loved, and I played some other things. And then I decided over the holidays, you know what? I don't feel like I gave it enough of a shot. So I went back and I decided this time I'm just going to keep going because I've heard such amazing things. And I love the people that made it and Ashley Birch who voiced it. And, you know, so I was just like, you know what, I'm doing it. So it took me a little while to get into. I think the robot animals, you know, I don't know, it just kind of took me a minute. And then once I got in, I was like, okay, this is fantastic. And then I played it all the way through. And now I started the DLC yesterday and I'm digging that.
Yeah, and I was next to you playing Shadows of War pretty much exclusively. I did kind of break and play a couple other things on my PC, but I was playing Shadows of War on my Xbox One X, which was quite nice because it's 4K and it's pretty and fast and really awesome. And I was just wrecking orcs, and that was pretty good. And I beat it until I tweeted that I beat it, and it's like, did you get both endings? And I'm like, well, there's a
like,
second ending. So I have to go back and do a few more, I forgot what they're called, siege missions or something, or fortress missions, or I have to defend a bunch of fortresses. There's a pretty cool game system in it that could be more procedural. And they use that to extend the gameplay a bit, and it's engaging. It's fun. I like cutting the heads off of orcs.
It was pretty funny that we finished
within
almost
minutes.
Simultaneously, which I mean that almost never happens.
Never.
So that was pretty great.
Yeah, you were getting the cutscene and end credits on your game within moments of me getting the cutscene and ending of my game.
That was pretty miraculous.
Totally different game, so that was really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think our boy was in the back just playing League of Legends the whole time or something.
Undoubtedly.
So we're tripping out because Christy and I raised a nerd kid.
True.
And the evidence of this is his birthday. His 18th birthday is tomorrow. He will be officially an adult tomorrow. Holy crap!
I know. That's true.
What he wanted to do with us yesterday? We went to medieval times in Dallas, Texas, and we saw jousting and sword fighting.
It was a whole thing.
I told him about the virtues of the movie The Cable Guy, which he needs to watch.
I know he hadn't seen it. His girlfriend was in town, Haley, and she lives in Vegas, and she's fantastic and fierce and amazing. And so she was here for the weekend, and so it's just been a weekend of celebrating 18.
Yeah, he did the thing with all of his friends the night before, so they had they went out and they did hibachi and they went to an arcade.
Round one. If you live near here, Round One is the best arcade in Grapevine. It's it's got all the fun Japanese games and all the rhythm games.
They have some weird stuff.
It's pretty great.
You took me one time and showed me this game that was clearly an import, and the interface is a table, and there's a bunch of characters sitting around on a screen, sitting around a dining room table, having some sort of dialogue in some language I can't understand.
Japanese, sure.
Sure, it looked like that, but there's a lot of Asian dialects that have kanji and other kinds of
True.
I didn't want to misrepresent, but anyway, the interface. So these characters are having a conversation, and apparently there's a point where what you have to do is you hold this table, and you flip the table.
Yeah.
You got it. The game is
table flip.
Table flipping. And apparently your timing and strength, like how strongly you flip this table and when you do it, provides you with a score.
Dude, it's so satisfying because basically you choose you want to be like a bridezilla or you want to be like this father. You have these choices of character, and you're in this environment where shit just keeps happening, and you just get madder and madder. You're just so frustrated with whatever's going on, and you could tell that your character just had. And once you've had enough, and there's no right or wrong answer, it's just once you've had enough, you just flip the table, and then that's the game. That's it.
That's it.
You get your score.
That's
it. And they reset the high score every day because it's just It seems arbitrary.
Because all of the characters are speaking in a language that I don't understand, apparently the dialogue is supposed to give you some clues as to when the timing. But we have no idea. So everybody, like, you just kind of, how about now?
Yeah, I seem very angry. I'm going to flip this table.
It's just sort
it's
of
pretty
random.
Great. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Okay. Apparently we're live.
Ooh.
With the what's that? So the Discord works, and is the phone thing going to work? Almost there. I noticed that we had to reset everything, so we dropped the caller. So if you did call back in just a few minutes, and there are a couple people in the queue. We'll get to that in just a minute. Let's see what else. There's something else I wanted to talk to you about. Oh, board games.
Okay.
We played. You didn't play. I played Twilight Imperium.
Yeah, I didn't.
Twilight Imperium 4th edition. Twilight Imperium is a 4X style board game. 4X is expand, exploit, exterminate. There's the 4X. It's basically like XCOM or more like Masters of Orion, where you kind of like grow and you expand and you're developing your fleet and all that. And it's a space battles game. And we played for about 8 hours.
That's not my jam.
And we did not finish. And I've played a number of games of Twilight Imperium in my life, and I have yet to complete a game. And we had a group, we were like committed, like, we are not going to give up. We're going to do it. This is the group that we're going to make it happen. And we were playing, and then there was a member of our party that had enough and had to pull the chute. And once, and that was just the way it is. And it's always going to happen. So someday I will get to complete a game of Twilight Imperium, but it was not this day. And if you are in North Dallas and you are into Twilight Imperium and you think you have the stamina to go the distance, hit me up, because I want to finish a game of Twilight Imperium before I die, and I have not. It's not happened for me.
You have to sign a contract committing that you will not leave under any circumstances until it's over.
Did you? I guess we played. We did an exit room game.
We did. We did an
escape room game.
Yeah,
it's
it was
called
like
Exit.
The polar one, because it was
okay.
It was wintry themed.
I liked the Pharaoh's Tomb. There's the whole series of escape room board games, and they're really cheap. They're like 10 or 15 or $20 or something. How much are they?
Yeah, I mean, usually around
$9.99. You guys sell them in the shop.
We sell quite a few. We have Time Stories, we have Exit, we've Unlocked.
Yeah. But Exit, we played Exit, and it's really inexpensive, and it's a small box, and the game gets really big compared to what's in the box. It's really surprising.
Yeah.
And we played one. We played two now, and I like the Pharaoh's Tomb, I think, a little more.
Yeah, I did too, but I liked our group.
Yeah,
I liked our holiday group.
The group
it was
for
fun.
the polar thing was.
They were
was
ridiculous.
Fun.
It was
both
fun.
Groups were good though.
They were. No, you're not wrong. They were both good groups.
It was a lot of fun. But I like that idea, and I think we should do more of that.
So we haven't done Time Stories.
No.
Now with Time Stories, you can't repeat it because you already have solved it all. But you don't destroy it like Exit, so you can pass it on to somebody. You can give it to somebody else to try, which is kind of a nice thing about it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, whereas Exit, you trash it and you're done.
Do you guys have it here?
We do.
Okay, well,
we do, and we have some expansions and stuff as well.
Maybe we should pick up a copy and check it out.
We should.
So
what?
You just heard it. She committed to another board game.
He acts like I don't play board games. I just don't play 8-hour board games. Like, who has time for that?
One of the things that you and I played together was Arcadia Quest from the Cool Mini or Not guys.
We used to do a lot of
did the campaign.
The campaigns,
and it was a lot of fun. And I think, and I got the new version, and so I think we should jump in again.
Yeah, there's a lot. It was daunting, the amount of stuff you got. Like, there's a lot of pieces.
I know. It's cool though. It's cool. And then let's see, one other thing that we should mention before we get to the callers. Blockchain and cryptocurrency people. Apparently you have a whole bunch of cryptocurrency people in your restaurant right now.
There's a meetup happening. It started at 4, which is, it's interesting to me. I mean, I keep track of it. I have employees that are super into the cryptocurrency and pay attention to that kind of stuff. I'm not much of a gambler, so I don't really get too...
I don't have any cryptocurrency
I don't get too involved in all
gamble.
that. So to me, I just kind of keep an eye and, find it amusing. But
so how can you tell if someone mines Bitcoin?
Because they'll fucking tell you.
Yes.
Guaranteed you will know within 10 minutes of talking to them because they will make sure you know.
Yes, cryptocurrency miners are a trip
Yeah.
for sure. I don't know if anybody listening is into that stuff, but I know it's a new frontier, and I'm curious to learn more about it. But if you want to talk about that, that's something. Should we try taking one of these calls?
I mean,
Let's
I'm
do
down
it
for whatever.
Okay, so I don't know what's going to happen because on Discord I don't really get good notes. But let's just drag this in and see what happens. I believe we have someone whose handle is Vaxi. Is this Vaxi? Are you on the air? Can you hear me, Vaxi? Huh. Let me try this. Try right click and user volume, and no, I think I did it right, but it's not working. So, oh, it dropped. Now it's back and want to talk now. Okay, let me try it again. Sorry about this, guys. This is all new. Vaxi, are you on the air? Vaxi, can you hear me? Nope, dropped again. Damn, I saw it flash for a second. I'm going to try it one more time.
I mean, you got to get your shit together. Oh,
hey,
I heard something.
Is this... Oh, it keeps dropping. Why is it doing that? Oh, let me try one more time. Hey, this is Randy at Nerdvana. Vaxi, can you hear me? No, it just keeps dropping back. So something's interesting here. It's not quite working out. Oh, you know why? Was that? Hold on a second, Evan. Is which one do I drag from?
I feel like this is user
so
error.
I dragged from the wrong group. I dragged somebody who wasn't yet
right.
screened. Okay, let's try this. This should work. This should work. Is this Woo?
Chicanerously forwarded to the Bar Association.
Oh, I think we got someone that's using a
The Black Frank Gelada, a gangster judge, therefore unprofitable.
We got somebody using a soundboard. We got somebody using a soundboard. All right. Our first call was a troll. Hey, Joe, do you want to check in? I put it in completed calls. Do you want to check in with that Woo guy? I think it's a troll. And just to make sure, though, you want to have another talk with him. And let's try this guy who's probably another troll. Let's see. Hey, this is Randy. You're on the air. Who is this?
Oh, thank you. My name is Noah. First, let me get the pleasantries out of the way. I'd like to say
Cool.
I'm a huge fan.
Awesome.
Like all your
Noah.
games. Like all your work.
Thank you, Noah.
Hello, Christy. Yeah.
Do you know Christy?
So, I
Do you
guess...
follow her, too?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's the owner of the coffee shop.
That's right.
The eponymous... Yeah.
Right on. So what's going on, Noah?
Oh, I actually have two things I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
The first thing is it's a story I got from a buddy of mine back when I lived in Austin.
Okay.
And I won't say names, but I'll try to throw you the hints as best I can without giving it away.
Okay.
She used to work at one of the big companies out there. I mean, big.
Like Origin?
Her name was...
Game developer?
Yeah, her name was... She worked at Microsoft. I'll give that away.
Fair enough.
Her first name started with a J, and she had a son named Lucas.
Okay.
I think that's vague enough to give it away. I don't know.
All right.
But a few years back, and he told me this story, so I don't know how true it is. I just wanted to verify.
Okay, let's find out.
You had dinner with her.
Okay.
And her son, and you played Traders of Canaan or whatever the board game's called. But what was really interesting is that you had dinner with these people, and apparently you brought a Segway. And
Sounds right.
Where did I have dinner with them?
If you brought a Segway, we're talking years ago.
Yeah, and it had to be.
Yeah, this was a while back.
And it had to be. It had to be up here in
years.
Dallas.
Yeah,
Probably. It would have to be
Dallas.
Plano.
It'd have to be because
I'm sorry, I'm nervous.
Don't be. It's
You're
cool.
fine, dude.
So
It's cool.
nervous right now.
So
Seriously.
Christy did buy me a Segway.
I did a long
for
time ago.
a Christmas gift, way back in the day when that happened, and it's pretty neat. I mean, it's pretty nerdy, but it's kind of fun. And occasionally mostly I just ride around the house of the neighborhood, but occasionally I would bring it somewhere.
True.
That was very rare though.
Yeah.
But when I did, I was super comfortable with people trying it. It's kind of fun, conversation piece.
Yeah, because that's what he said. That's where the story continues.
Okay,
is because you all right, hey, come try this out, and he did. but you were like showing him, all right, this is how you use it, and apparently you fell off of it. That's how I heard it.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. Although I mean, I don't think I've really fallen off.
The couple of times that you've spilled have been anomalous. Like, remember you tried to have a dog on a leash once?
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
that
yeah,
didn't really work out.
Yeah, because the dog pulled it in ways it didn't want to be pulled.
Or if you've done like some jumps and some.
I've
like,
done some
trick
extreme stuff,
shit.
but it's really hard to fall off that thing. I mean, it's not impossible. I don't have a memory of that. I'm sorry, but it's it's on brand. It's on brand. Like me having a Segway and playing a board game with strangers and encouraging other people to try it, and it's all possible. Although I don't have a specific memory of that incident. Was it a flattering or unflattering story?
Well, I don't know. The thing is, I think he was more in awe in the fact that he was having dinner with Randy Pitchford. Okay. So that's probably.
It's not impossible. I tend to be pretty accessible, and
I mean, I think that every day. Oh my gosh, I'm having dinner with Randy Pitchford.
I think to myself, I can't believe I'm having breakfast with Christy Pitchford after the dinner that she had with me. Oh man. So that's cool. So do you happen to did Lucas happen to give you any information about how it was that we were together? Or?
Well, his mom worked for Microsoft, so my suspicion is that it was probably a biz dinner of some sort.
Could have been, but to bring a kid along.
I mean, it would have to be a pretty casual one. And we've done them occasionally, right? Like the mixers where we've brought boy and whatnot.
It's not impossible.
It is not impossible.
It's not impossible. I don't have a specific memory, but I can't say it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know, because like it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It would have had to be.
It was like, I don't know, like, and I got it secondhand, so I wish I could tell you more about it. But
I love that there's a secondhand. The fact that there's even a secondhand story means like, wow, maybe I've actually done something people are interested in.
We're talking about you.
That's cool.
Okay, so no, what's the second part? The second question.
I wanted to talk about how I feel like Aliens Colonial Marines should have had a bigger cult audience than it did. I mean, I really do. Because, like, I think that game has, like, such a particular kind of vibe going on.
Did you play, did you play multiplayer at all?
Oh, I never got to.
Because that's where...
I got it a few years...
I got it
a few years after the game came out.
Yeah, that's where the people there's people still playing. In fact...
Really?
I had somebody point out that there was some weekend or something where there were more people playing Aliens Colonial Marines than Battleborn. But there's some really cool stuff actually in multiplayer. I mean, I dig the whole game. I get that, like, there were at the time it launched, there were some people that I think were disappointed in it, but I liked it, and multiplayer was a lot of fun. The systems all worked, and all the characters were there, and all the weapons were there, and all the aliens were there, and the behaviors were cool, and the environments were cool. And when you play the bug hunt mode, it was really to me it was like being in like kind of ad hoc like imagined scenarios that could have been things that went down in Hadley's Hope, where holy shit, there's just a couple of us Marines and they're coming out of the goddamn walls, and you just got to it's like horde mode extreme in the actual fiction of Aliens, and it was a lot of fun.
People compare it to Natural Selection.
Yeah, there was some of that too. I think, well, I mean, Natural Selection was really committed to what it did, so frankly, I think it's a better game in the multiplayer side, but the alien stuff brought something unique that Natural Selection couldn't bring, and that no other game could bring, and that it was using the fiction, it was using the canonical Aliens content, and that's something I've always dreamed about and wanted to do and be a part of. So I was kind of glad that it got to exist and that I got to be a little part of it. But yeah,
well, reason.
Go ahead. You were going to go thought.
The reason I said what I said though is because I did it with single player.
Yeah.
And the thing with single player in that game is, even after it's been patched, but it was really better before it was patched. It was very replayable.
Which platform did you play it on?
I agree with that.
Which platform did you play it on?
I played it on PC.
Yeah. Okay. The patch
And
mostly.
I installed it.
Yeah, the patch mostly for PC. The biggest thing that the first massive patch did was give all the upgraded materials. There was a decision made by, I don't remember who made the decision. Somebody on the development team decided that they would launch with parity in the materials on all three platforms, Xbox, PlayStation, and Windows PC. And usually, like the PC version, we use the highest fidelity content. It takes up a lot more memory, but it looks really nice for PC players that have systems that can handle it. It's kind of, traditionally as a console gamers kind of feel a little like they get the short end of the stick sometimes when they see, especially like when you look at the marketing materials, which always use the highest fidelity content, right? And you might be playing on a PlayStation 3 or something, which had the lowest fidelity content, and you're like, oh man, I wish my game looked as good as that. And so they made the decision, like, let's ship on all platforms with the exact same content. And I think that was a mistake. I think that the players that had the more powerful hardware wanted the more powerful stuff, and
yeah,
and so we that was the biggest thing in the patch. But I'm curious where you think the patch made the game less good. Where do you think it hurt the game?
Oh, I never said that.
Oh,
I
thought you said it was.
I still think it's.
I thought you said it was better before the patch.
No, I said the patch made it better.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misheard you.
I was saying it was the way that it was. It's kind of like before the patch. It was kind of like Sonic 06. Not that bad though. Not nearly that bad, but as in like.
I didn't play Sonic 06, so.
It was like there was a lot of unpredictability about it that made it feel more like an Aliens kind of canon thing to me.
Okay.
Because it was always more hectic in a way.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's very esoteric, but.
Okay. Well, yeah. So that's cool though. I'm glad you got something out of it. That to me the whole thing was about. There was a feeling I had. There were two feelings I had after I saw Aliens. And the first was that story should continue. I wanted to spend more time in those environments and with those characters. And two, man, this is just such a cool place for a video game. Like, I'd love to do this interactively. And so we got a chance to do that. And I think what was interesting, though, was, we ultimately committed to that, Aliens style presentation. But there's a lot of franchise fans that were more of the Alien type, where they were more into a suspense kind of horror kind of game rather than an action thriller kind of game, or horror suspense kind of film rather than an action thriller kind of film. And we, in a game version, we had a pretty heavy action FPS there that was more like Aliens than Alien, I think. And I think depending on which side you were, you might have had different feelings about the result. But yeah, right on, man. Well, thanks for calling in and sharing that.
I've got one last question before I get out of here.
Yeah.
It's really quick.
Okay.
Is your wife going to feature as a planet in Alien Colonial Marines 2?
Wait,
wow.
Am I a planet? Am I complimented or insulted right now?
As a planet? No, it's because you're big, like really fat.
Oh.
Wow, that was really nice. So that guy took all that. That guy took all that time
for that punchline
to troll.
Wow.
That was that was very kind.
Interesting.
Well, just when your faith in humanity, man, he could have gotten there a lot faster.
Yeah, I felt like we didn't have to have all the conversation about the alien. Well, I mean, that was all right.
And I honestly thought it was a little fishy because he was a little too. The story at the beginning was interesting though.
Yeah.
Like, what was that about?
I couldn't tell if he was trying to say he's heard a story that he somehow has knowledge of somebody that knew you or interacted with you.
I think it's made up. I think like the fun thing. Randy fell off a Segway.
Yeah, because I don't see you ever taking a Segway to dinner. Like
that's never.
Like why would you have put it in an automobile? And
yeah, that's a pain in the ass.
Interesting.
Hey, let's take one of these other calls. Let's talk to Eddie. Actually, I'm going to do Dustin first. He wants to talk about co-op games, and let's try this. And Dustin, this is Randy. You're on the air.
Hey, how's it going, you two?
Hey, pretty good.
Hey.
So you're calling from Maui.
Ooh, I bet it's gorgeous there right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, somewhere every day.
So I've got a friend,
Can't
Christy and
complain.
I have a good friend that's got a magic club on Maui called Warren and Annabelle's. And Warren was at our wedding.
He was.
And I used to work with him at a nightclub in Hollywood called Wizards back when I was a magician. And Warren is awesome, and his club is amazing, and his show is amazing. It's called Warren and Annabelle's, and it's on Maui. And I highly recommend you check it out. So if you get a chance,
It is great.
Since you're
And
in
Warren's
Maui,
great.
and then when you do go to the show, tell Warren that you talked to me on my call-in show and that I said hi.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Well, it's funny you mention that because usually when you talk about magic, I kind of tune it out. But I wanted to give it a shot. So a couple weeks ago, I surprised my wife, and we went to go see that show.
Nice!
Oh, that's a nice coincidence.
What'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it. We've seen the two performers were John George and Chris Blackmore.
Okay. So you didn't get
And-
to see Warren, but I know John George. He's good. I don't think I know Chris Blackmore, but that's cool. That's
awesome.
You should go back again when Warren's doing the show. It's you. Those guys are great.
Yeah, I'd
And-
like to.
Yeah, John George is good, but like he's really good. Warren's got a whole different thing, man. Awesome. That's cool. I'm glad you got a chance to do it. Hey, there's you can also, if you're curious, if you want to dig a little deeper, you can check out the website genieonline.com, and it's sort of like gosh, this is going to sound like an insult, but it's like Kotaku or Polygon or IGN or something for Magic, where they aggregate a lot of stories, but they create a lot of original stories too.
Who does it sound like you're insulting?
Genie Online by comparing them to the gaming websites. I'm okay with the gaming websites, but I know some people have a problem with them.
Maybe Susan's listening somewhere and she's like cringing.
But check out genieonline.com if you want to dig deeper into it. But let's talk about video games. You wanted to talk about co-op.
Yeah. Well, I grew up playing split screen.
Cool.
Like back in the day,
Yeah.
we played. I had my friends come over and we played. One of my favorite games was a game called Twisted Metal 2.
Uh-huh.
You remember that game with the cars?
Yeah, I did.
Shoot?
It was great. Yeah, I
shoot
loved it.
each other and stuff.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. That's old school. That's PlayStation 1.
And then, yeah. So I went from like Sega to PlayStation, and then I went to when the Xbox 360 came out. I got that.
Okay.
And then when I got married, my wife, she decided to get into shooter games with me.
Outstanding.
And so, we got, like the Halos and the Gears of War and played those. And then, those got kind of boring. So we went to GameStop and I asked for, a good split screen game, and they recommended this game called Borderlands. And so,
It's pretty good.
I bought all three.
Nice.
And then started out on Borderlands 1. And we played a little bit of it, and then my wife was like, take this game out. And I was like, hold on a second. Let's give it a chance. And so, we kept playing it, and then, ever since then, we've been playing it, almost every day.
Wow, that's awesome.
So,
Yeah, that's cool. Couch co-op, I think, is one of the greatest experiences any kind of couple can have, whether it's a romantic couple or siblings or friends. Once I discovered that, it's really become a big part of the decisions we make at Gearbox is to try to support couch co-op gaming and everything we do. And occasionally, like Christy and I will be able to play together in couch co-op games, and Borderlands is one of them that actually worked. And that's how I knew we kind of had something, because Christy doesn't like all the games that I happen to work on, but she really dug Borderlands, and that's when I knew we had something there. That's awesome. Right on, dude. So I guess you're looking forward for us to make more stuff then. We should probably get on that for you.
well, yeah, I look forward to when Borderlands 3 comes out. And be
We
able
should
to play
probably
that.
announce something first, right? It's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Probably
that's
should.
cool. Yeah. So cool, man. So what are your, besides Borderlands, what do you think your favorite co-op games are?
Well, I mean, there really isn't any. You know, I
Wow.
go to the store and I look in the back of the games and I see one player, and
Yeah, I
you
guess
know,
couch co-op
they're just
isn't
not
really
out there anymore.
a big thing anymore.
Yeah, you'd think that, especially after we showed up, you'd think that more people would try to support it because.
But I wonder if your biggest. I mean, you have, I'm sure, people that are playing couch co-op, but I think a lot of people are, you know, on their own, you know, playing network.
Yeah,
or,
network co-op.
Yeah.
That's fine too.
Yeah.
You know, split screen or network works, and there's, I guess there might be some more games that support networked co-op than split screen co-op.
Yeah. I mean, because we're always trying to find fun co-op, couch co-op here at the restaurant, obviously, because one screen per table. We're always looking for 4-player games that are, you
They're
know, fun
mostly
for people to play.
competitive, though.
Yeah, because you can jump in and you can,
So-
you know, play while you eat.
Are you still playing on an Xbox 360, or what's your game? What's your system of choice right now?
Well, I got the Xbox One, and we got the Handsome Jack collection.
Okay, great.
So
Hey, is Overcooked on Xbox?
Yes.
You should. It's a silly little game,
It's pretty fun, though.
but it's really fun. It's
is really
called
fun.
Overcooked. It's cheap. It's an indie game. It's really fun. It's not gonna like take over all of your attention, but you'll get into it. It works as a couch co-op game, and it's single screen, so you don't have to split the screen with anybody. Totally different genre. It's not first person, but
No, it's like high intensity cooking. It's really what it is.
It's really bizarre, but
Yeah.
we've had some fun with it.
We have.
So I recommend that one too.
It's one of our most popular games at the restaurant.
Yeah.
That and Gang Beasts has been
Gang
Beasts.
Yeah, that's
People
competitive
are
though.
digging it.
That's
Thanks,
competitive.
Tim. Thanks,
And
Greg.
It's better with 4 players, frankly.
Yeah.
But Gang Beasts is competitive. It's basically these little blobby guys, and you just beat the crap out of each other.
It's
and throw
last
each other.
man standing. It's really fun.
It's Double Fine. Tim Schafer's company, our buddy Tim.
Yeah. I know
and
my
his
GM,
team.
Kathy, dominates. She kicks all of our asses. She's so good.
That's awesome. Hey man, thanks for calling, and I'm super psyched that the Borderlands games have been fun and a part of your co-op gaming lives. And please give my best to your partner. And
Okay.
I hope to keep entertaining you guys. We're working on a few different things that I hope will be interesting to you, and some of them we'll probably announce sometime this year. So look out for that, and I hope you'll get excited about it. All right. I'll talk to you later,
Thank you,
Dustin.
guys.
Thanks for your call. Cheers.
No problem.
All right. Well, that was cool.
Yeah.
Man, you know, I'm thinking about that. Trying to make sure that works. Okay, I was thinking about that troll from earlier, and I want trolls to be like really
It
good
makes
at
sense
it.
that he was like so nervous, and it's because he was like holding back. He was just like, I need to get to this punchline, which is why he was
No,
nervous,
I don't think
but-
he was actually nervous. I think the guy was.
Oh, I think he was.
No, I think.
Dude, after listening to Boy and where he gets,
I think he decided it's like a prank call. You know. You know.
Yeah.
But I wish he went like. I wish that was better. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna troll, you should be like witty or nuanced.
Yeah, it's okay though.
Yeah.
We'll get a better one, or just
I'm
hit
sure we'll
hit
get
it on the
better-
nose,
but
like
we
whatever
still
that goes.
have, 55 minutes.
Okay,
so
let's take another
we're bound
call.
to get another troll.
Okay, so this is a guy who I was gonna call a second ago. Let's talk about Borderlands, and he's in California. So let's talk to. This is Eddie, right? Eddie, can
Hello.
you hear me? Hi, this is Randy.
How are you?
This is Randy. You're on the air. You're calling from California.
Oh, so yeah. I'm calling
Awesome.
from California.
Well, thanks for calling.
Yeah.
How's it going? What can we talk
Yeah.
about?
Thank you for answering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Borderlands
Yeah.
and I've been a fan since day one of the birth of Borderlands. I
Wow.
played Borderlands 1 all the way to the Telltale. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
I've
Thank you.
always been. But yeah,
Me
I
too.
bought every DLC, everything. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, it's like my favorite. my favorite, game, first person to, like, shoot and loot. Like, there's nothing that can beat it, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And
Cool.
like,
Well, thank you. On behalf
like,
of the team, it's a
yeah.
massive team effort. I have a very small part in a very big project, but I'm very grateful I get to work with such cool people. Did you know that Christy worked on the first 2 Borderlands games?
I did.
She did some
really?
writing.
I didn't know
She
that.
did some writing. She helped me cast the actor that played the role of Angel and the role of Lilith.
Oh, Angel. Oh.
Yeah, and
Brittany?
she discovered Brittany for us,
Yeah.
and she did some writing. She wrote a lot of the
Oh,
Borderlands
wow.
1 script for like one of the earlier passes. Some of the stuff had been rewritten. I'd written some too, and my stuff was procedural but not funny. So Mikey wrote over a lot of my stuff to
Yeah, he
make
gave it flavor.
punch
he
it
gave,
up.
He gave our stuff flavor.
Yeah, he did to punch it up. But right on, cool. So what do you want to talk about with Borderlands?
Yeah, I was gonna say, from moving from, like, first person shooters, from, like, and then you guys made, the Telltale.
Yeah, we worked with
that really, like,
we worked with
yeah.
Telltale. They actually
that
developed
really,
the game.
Like, I thought, like, I was like, when it first came out, I was like, oh, like, I can't see, playing this. Like, I'm used to, first person shooters, and I gave it a try, and, like, I went through the whole entire thing, and, like, it was just, like, so amazing. Like, that, like, it was so, I couldn't get over it. And then when the last episode came out, I was so sad. Like, oh no, it's like, it can't end like this. And I don't want to say, what happened at the end, but whatever.
We know.
Like, I don't know if people haven't played it or not, but
Yeah.
I'm so, like, it's like a huge cliffhanger. You know what I mean? Like, my main question is, like, if there is going to be, like, a season 2 to Tales of the Borderlands, even though, like, Telltale Games made the game,
Yeah.
and if it's your guys' choice to, like, continue on it.
Well, I don't think we have the energy or the right kind of team to develop a game like that.
Yeah.
So I think if there is a season 2, it should be Telltale that does it, and I'm open to it. I think there were a lot of discussions about it, and I don't know why where those discussions went. Obviously, I think there was probably some business complexity to it as well, because on that one, Take-Two, who has the publishing rights for Borderlands, had the retail publishing rights for Tales from the Borderlands, and of course Telltale did digital publishing, and I think Telltale is publishing more now, and they've got a lot of things going on, so I think they might be a little spread thin, but I don't want to speak for them. I think they can speak for themselves, but I'd absolutely be open to that. I loved season 1 though, and I really think that it did what it set out to do, and it created a really fun and entertaining storyline in the Borderlands universe that wasn't in the main storyline. It was this sort of ancillary story, and it also demonstrated how compelling the universe and characters can be, even in the absence of the role-playing game gameplay that Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 1 and Borderlands the pre-sequel feature, right? When I play a traditional Borderlands game with the RPG loop, where I'm leveling up and I'm getting loot, like, I am really compelled by those things. And to see a successful Tales from the Borderlands, which was able to succeed without any loot and without any leveling, was a really interesting test and a testimony to the strength of the universe and the characters that the team created. And I love that. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I have so much confidence in the motion picture that's currently in development for Borderlands, because it is a really fun universe, and there are great characters to spend time in. So that's something to look forward to as well. But yeah, I can't
also,
answer that. I mean, it's going to be really up to Telltale and business that happens between parties other than myself. But for my part, I would absolutely encourage that and do what I could to enable that to happen.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. Also, I know that Telltale, or like the main characters in the game, Fiona and Reese. Yeah. If they're going to be able to, are they going to play a role in? Like, I'd love to see them, because, like, at the end we didn't know what happened. So
yeah,
for Fiona to be an actual playable character in the new I don't want to say Borderlands. I'm not gonna say Borderlands 3 because it's like not announced yet.
Yeah.
But in the next big thing, like Borderlands.
Well, I will tell you this.
Amazing to see Fiona as a.
Yeah, I will tell you this. We do think of the characters and the story that happened in Tales from the Borderlands as canonical, and so those characters are in the universe, and future explorations of the universe are welcome to consider those characters being a part of it. So, it's everything's on the table, I guess. But yeah, I hear you. I like the characters that were introduced in Tales as well, and I'd love to spend more time with those characters. And I think that in the future of Borderlands, it'd be fun in different ways that Borderlands can manifest in the future to be able to spend more time with those characters. And I think it's fair to look forward to that. Hey, listen, man.
Yeah.
It's been awesome talking to you, Eddie, and thanks for calling. Where in California are you?
Yeah, thank you.
Where in California are you?
Where from California am I?
Yeah.
Or like what? Whittier, California.
Oh, Whittier. Okay, cool. Right on, man. Is the weather holding up over there? Or?
Yeah, it's pretty good here. Yeah,
Okay.
It's decent.
I was just
All
in,
right.
I was just in Los Angeles and it was perfect, but I think it might be turning again. But hey, anyway, thanks for calling, Eddie. It's awesome talking to you. I'm gonna let you go and get to some other callers, but thanks for your time, man.
All right, thank you for having me.
Awesome. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
All right, talk to you later. See you.
Okay, that was interesting. What do you think? You like Tales, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had that moment with Mikey, which
Oh,
was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
'cause
Mikey played the character Scooter,
Yeah.
and Scooter has a very significant role to play in Tales from
And
the
the fact that
Borderlands.
I had by design, I had no information at all.
Right.
And my first exposure was the live playthrough.
Oh, that was quite a
Yeah.
that we got to participate
amazing.
in Telltale at PAX. One of the PAXs hosted a live play, a group play of Tales from the Borderlands Episode 4. And what that means is there were like hundreds and hundreds of people in this auditorium, and at every choice, the whole auditorium would scream what they wanted the choice to be, and there was someone in control that was deciding based on what they thought the crowd wanted. It was a crowd play of Tales from the Borderlands, and that was a really hardcore emotional experience.
Yeah.
Because there was like all the voice actors were in attendance,
Yeah.
and Mikey was there, and we were there, and that was a lot of fun.
That was great.
Hey, I'm gonna take a couple from the Discord. So let's see here. I've got a couple in the queue. Let's try this one. Hey, this is Randy. You're on the air. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. What's your name, man?
My name's Don.
Hi, Don.
Sorry. Yeah, I was streaming your guys' show now. I realized I'm a little bit behind, so I'm just pause the show and talk.
Okay, that's probably the best if you're watching it on the internet. Where are you calling from, Don?
Utah.
Far out. Cool. Well, thanks for calling in. Is there anything in particular you want to talk about? Got some questions?
Believe it or not, like, I was gonna talk about something else, but with your troll earlier today, it did bring up something I talked about with you guys. So, I'm a small-time developer. Out there, I put myself on the social media platforms like Twitter and things like that. You know how the gaming community can be. It can be some of the most generous people that are out there.
Yeah.
They can be some of the right. They sometimes brings out some of the worst in themselves, right?
Yes.
And Twitter, and you've been publicly accessible for a long time. Is there any pro tips you have for somebody like myself? Because I'm starting in my career. I'm doing my own title.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean.
Well, honestly, I can talk to you about that. I mean, I'm still figuring it out, and the world's always changing, right? But I love this. I love that we're in this information age and this digital age where we can interact with each other digitally, and I don't want to shut that off. So I've stayed on Twitter. I don't do Facebook, and I don't do Instagram, and there's a million social platforms. I don't do any of them, but I've stayed on Twitter because I think it's the fastest and most accessible. And it is true, and I have a theory about how how like the spectrum of the kinds of people work. It's always a bell curve, right? So like I don't know if you can see me, but if you're watching, imagine a graph where this is the number of people on the vertical axis, and across the bottom is from like the most extreme type of negative to the most extreme type of positive, right? And it goes like this, where there's very few people in the extreme, and it ramps up, and then it peaks in the middle, and then it comes back down again, and then it goes down on the other side. So it's a bell curve. It's a classic bell curve where most of the people are in the middle, and huge numbers of people are in the middle. But you get people on the ends, and even the extreme ends. And the more people you reach, the more relevant you are, the more people you're going to get on those extreme ends, right? So like, let's say it's 0.1% on the ends. Well, if you reach 1,000 people, you're going to get one person on each end, which means if you reach 1 million people, you're going to get 1,000 people on each end. And we've reached tens of millions of people, right? So we have tens of thousands of people on either end. And here's another thing too. I was looking at my Twitter, and apparently I've got like 500 and some thousand followers. I guess it's probably getting closer to 600,000 now. It seems like a lot. And I looked on the internet, and I learned that 4% of all people are sociopaths. 4% of the world are sociopaths. Did you know that?
I'm a little skeptical of that number.
Google it. You got a phone right there. Look it up. 4% are sociopaths. And so
I kind of believe that more and more I become more publicly available.
Yeah.
Because I do a podcast. We get around 1,000 viewers.
Okay.
A week.
So if you got 1,000 people, you're going to have those edge cases already. You're going to have people. There's human beings that are going to be on the ends, both positive and negative. They're going to hit you. And
the positive people are phenomenal.
Of
right?
course, of course. But you also have to be careful too, right? Because even on the positive end, sometimes it can get a little too much. Like, most people are awesome. Even some of the negative people are kind of normal. But the extremes are where it gets really, really weird. And but yeah, if there are 4% sociopaths, and you've got 1,000 people, that means 40 people every show you do are sociopaths.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, that's causation, correlation problem. But I would say, I mean, for me, like, you just decide. You decide. Like, I have no issues on social media.
Christy's
like,
the best.
I am
She's
positive and
But
happiness
I can't hear her.
only.
She's better than me.
I just don't, any kind of negativity. Can you hear me?
You were cutting out earlier. Sorry. about
Okay.
that.
I hit the mic down here, so go ahead.
Yeah, any type of negativity, whether it's directed towards me or towards Randy or towards anybody else that follows me, or really any kind of community, I don't want the noise. I'm so busy. I have so much going on with the restaurant and the coffee shop and all of this stuff that I'm doing that I don't have time for it. I don't have mind share for it, and I refuse to give it any attention whatsoever. So I am the queen of blocking people. I will block people for saying anything negative about other people or anything. I just want no part of it. So it's a choice. I mean, to me, I feel like everyone's amazing because everything coming at me is amazing. Because I just
Because if it's not, it goes. It
just goes
dies
away,
in a fire.
and then I'm just living in this great, like, wow, everybody's so fantastic, and that's how I handle it.
Yeah. I'm a little more. I don't know. I have this thing where I think what makes me an entertainer is I really care about trying to create joy and happiness. And so sometimes I get a little more caught up in the fact that maybe I failed with people, and I try to figure out why, or try to engage with them more. Christy's like, just block them, dude. And sometimes I'm like, no, I want to get in there with this guy and figure out what's going on, And sometimes I'll get into it with people on Twitter, just mostly to understand, and to figure out like what, is it me, or what should I do differently? But but here's the thing: you can't let any of the negativity stop you, because, it's like going to a beach. Most people on the beach are just there on the beach, but every once in a while, like 1 in 1,000, will get down there in the sand and they will build a sandcastle. And most of the time, it's going to be an ugly sandcastle. But at least it got to exist, and maybe that person will build a better sandcastle next time, and maybe the next time, and then there's and every once in a while there's a freaking amazing sandcastle, and we all get to enjoy seeing it, and then there's somebody else that's coming along they'll outnumber the builders 10-1 that just can't help themselves, and they just feel like they got to kick that sandcastle over, step on it, and destroy it, and if the sandcastle builders let the sandcastle kicker-overs stop them, there would be no sandcastles. So we just got to ignore those guys and just got to keep building. Just keep making stuff, because that's what makes the world cooler and better. And it's okay if some sandcastles are better than others. And it's okay if you like one sandcastle and not another, and that's fine. But the more sandcastles there are, the more we get to choose from, and the better sandcastles are going to be for everybody to enjoy. So we got to just keep building those sandcastles, regardless of who wants to kick them over. And here's the other thing, too, that I've learned. Someone that's going to take the time of kicking over sandcastle, and I can just abandon the analogy at some point. Somebody that's going to take the time of investing in you, you've got them. Like, you're reaching them. They're engaged, right? I saw this thing on my Twitter feed this morning. Somebody did a 4-hour video takedown of Batman versus Superman, and it wasn't my favorite movie, but somebody made some cool shit, and there were just a few sweet action scenes in it, and I really liked the moment when Wonder Woman showed up and kicked some ass. And but whatever, like, to invest, like, someone to make a 4-hour video takedown, that person had to invest insane amounts of time. That person's a customer. Like, that person, like, who directed Batman versus Spider-Man or Superman, sorry. I don't remember who directed, but that person, that person's in, and every DC comic film, that person's going to be a customer. So you got that guy, and everybody that's going to take the time to watch a 4-hour takedown, well, you got them too. So it's okay. It's all part of it. They're just on that negative end of the spectrum, and they're just part of the world, and it's a function of relevance. And the more relevance anything has, then the more time and energy people are going to invest on either end of the spectrum. And the most relevant is always, it doesn't matter who we're talking about, it's always whoever happens to be the president of the United States. And that's what gets the most positive and negative on either side. And that proves that it's a function of relevance, because that's the most relevant individual on the planet at any given moment. But I like to create, and I think creators are the best, even if we don't always like what they create. Just keep swinging, because if people keep creating, then chances are there might be something that we might like, or that somebody might like, and creation is what makes the world better and cooler. So keep on making stuff, man. That's my advice.
Definitely. Thanks for taking my call and all that. And yeah. If you guys are ever short on staff, or you need someone just to help, like, seriously.
Oh, well, if on the website, we're always hiring people, so you can just keep checking that if you're looking for a gig.
I'm more interested in just volunteering. Is there a way to submit something like that there?
You can try using that site to reach out. We do internships and some things like that. What part of the world you said you're calling from? Utah? No.
So I'm from Utah.
Yeah. Okay.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
It would have to be remotely, and I don't expect you to give me an answer over
it's hard to find ways to volunteer remotely, but if you go to the website and reach out and tell us what you can do and how you think you can help, and the folks that kind of handle that are always looking for people to add to the machine. So, but hey, man, thanks for calling, Don.
Problem. Thanks for taking my call. Thanks for answering that, and keep reaching out like you guys are. It's a big difference. There's too much of a gap between the gamer and the developers.
Yeah, I think so too, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing this, and why I'm glad Christy came on the show today to kind of try to close that a little bit. Cool. Well, I'll talk to you later, Don. Thanks for your call, man.
All right.
Yep.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers. Awesome. Well, that was interesting. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah,
you've got a degree in psychology.
I do. I do.
You've studied like neuroscience and this shit. I'm just like an enthusiast.
Yeah, it's the whole troll aspect of things is interesting because it's less about the people that troll, in my opinion, because I feel like, there's this cry for attention from people like that. I don't really find that very interesting. I'm not, trying to be everyone's couch counselor.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to me more so is how people respond to trolls, because that seems to be the widest range, where there's people that, every slight, every insult, everything that isn't, completely positive can wreck them, can keep them from achieving anything,
right?
Because they just get so paralyzed with the idea that they could fail. And then there's people that are just like, I don't give a shit. I'm driving my lane, and I'm cool, and I'm just going to keep going down this path. Yeah. So to me, that's what I find interesting is the responses.
That's cool. Yeah, and maybe that's something I've learned from you. I think over time I'm getting better at just letting it wash away. Like you're just like,
I don't give a
oil
shit.
and water. You don't care.
No, I got too much to do.
All right, should we take another one?
Sure.
All right, let's take. We got a bunch in the queue here, so I'm gonna.
Should we go faster? You want to get through more people or no?
Yeah. Let me try this one. We'll get through everybody, but we'll see. We'll see. Hey, this is Randy. You're on the air. Who's this?
Hey, this is Ian from Eugene. What's
Ian,
good, Randy?
I'm
a big fan.
Oh, wow, cool. Well, thanks for calling.
Yeah, I love the Borderlands series.
Sweet.
I love the amount of weapon variety and the huge open world. I remember playing a lot of Borderlands 2. I had a guy who had a lot of explosions and stuff, and I liked those guns that you could throw.
Yeah. TDR.
And stuff. Yeah. Those are so freaking badass.
We really love that principle too. In fact, I mean, just to riff off that idea really quick, I think what we discovered there is it's kind of fun to think about weapon design in a first-person shooter in non-standard ways, right? The idea that when you reload, you throw the gun out and it becomes basically a grenade was really just using the verbs we had to try to create some new design things. We also had things like healing bullets, where you can shoot a co-op buddy and would heal them instead of hurt them.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. And
that thinking, we are really deep in that thinking, and so we got nuts in it with Borderlands 2, a little bit more with the pre-sequel, but I'm looking forward to all the lessons and experience we've had there to manifest in something new that we do down the road. But hey, what do you want to talk about?
Actually, some slightly off topic.
Okay.
I hear you're involved with magic.
A little bit.
As an aspiring magician myself, I'd like to ask you for some advice.
Okay. What kind of advice? Is there something specific you're looking for, or just in general?
Yeah. I was wondering if you had a trick I could use to conjure up a few more sales to break even on my failed Overwatch ripoff. I want to inflate those numbers like your wife.
Another troll. Look at this. All right, cool. So
wow, they put so much.
They do.
Really.
They really do. Yeah.
I wonder if they're by themselves or if they have people that they're watch this. This is what I'm going to do.
I've also noticed that this is both the trolls came in on Discord.
Yeah.
So they're internet trolls.
I mean.
And
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's so fascinating.
Yeah.
So wow. Well,
but he's a big fan. So
he's
a big fan.
Yeah.
Open world weapon systems. All right. I agree. Those are great things.
Well, I'll tell you what. And let's see, what was the troll? The troll, it was trying to make fun of Battleborn.
Battleborn sales.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a little more clever, but I think he heard us saying you have to be clever if you're going to troll. So he's like, oh shit, I better raise my game and come up with something really clever with this. I mean, he did. I mean,
the thing that's funny, what actually the part that gets where he barely got in there is not the performance of Battleborn, whatever.
Right.
We're fine with that.
Sure.
It's miscalling it as a clone of Overwatch.
It couldn't be.
It's not a clone.
Less similar.
Actually, so beat it to market.
Either he didn't.
Well, also beat it to market.
Right.
Where they're the same. It's
correct.
If anything, Overwatch is a clone of Battleborn.
Yeah. It's I know it is interesting.
But you know what? I'll tell you what. I am stoked on Overwatch. When I first when I first kind of directed us down that path of doing a hero shooter. There weren't any. It didn't exist.
Now there's a bunch.
And what was possible in the market was just really uncertain and scary for the suits, scary for the kinds of people that take bets, right? So, I don't know if you remember, but when Borderlands 1 came out, I did a talk at DICE in February at the summit for the Academy of Interactive Arts in February after it launched, and Borderlands 1 launched in October. So the February after its launch in October, I did a talk about it, and one of the things that I said was, and I got into a little trouble with the publishers. I said, it's still happening, and it's been a big success, but it looks like that Borderlands can be a 3 million unit game. And this was speculative, like I was predicting something that hadn't happened yet when I said that.
Right.
And because at that point it was a little over 2 million units, and that was a really, that was a forward-looking statement. And our friends, our publishing partners, are publicly traded, so they were very nervous that I made that guess, because they trade on predictability. And forward-looking statements have a specific meaning in publicly traded companies, but that was a big, like, holy crap, and of course Borderlands went on to do multiples of that, and Borderlands 2 even more, and that's all public, how massively successful the Borderlands games have gotten. Battleborn has reached over 3 million people. And it's only in comparison, only because Overwatch exists,
right,
that it's considered a failure by comparison. But Overwatch reached over 25 million people, which to me is massively vindicating. When I was conceiving of a angle that had no evidence that it could have any success at all in the marketplace, and then to have a leader in that world achieve 25 million units of sales is massively vindicating for the concept. And of course, our game did pretty well. I mean, it'd be a success without that direct competitor being compared to it. I remember when the independent game Firewatch, after about a year, had managed to reach 1 million units, and this was celebrated as, holy crap, 1 million units, because it's that's hard to do. If the caller ever tries to make anything in his life, that caller will discover how difficult it is to reach 1 million people, let alone 3. And I wish that caller success, and I hope trolls that are willing to take the time and energy to do something like this, instead of directing the energy there, maybe try creating something.
I know.
And maybe try creating something that can be monetized, because then maybe you can bring joy and happiness to people and also make money at it, so that you can do even more of that. So if you're still listening, troll, I recommend that. Your life will be much more gratified and fulfilled. Now, it's hard, and you probably will fail. You'll fail, which is probably why you choose not to do that. But I still recommend trying it anyway. I fail a lot, and every failure will teach you something that could lead you towards success. So give it a shot. Try to make something good. All right, so I'm not going to do... hey, Joe, can you do me a favor and check in on that queue on Discord? I'm going to do a couple of call-ins. Rick's been waiting a long time, and I've talked to Rick before. And also there's this guy Boris. So I'm going to try to take these from the call-in lines, and let's talk to Rick from Salem. Hey, this is Randy. This is Rick, right? Can you hear me? Hey, you're on the air, man.
That's right.
Thanks for waiting. We've had a lot of callers this time, so I'm sorry you've been on the line for so long, but I'm glad to...
no, it's cool. It's one of the few days off I get, so...
Right on, man.
What do you do?
I don't mind it.
What do you do, Rick?
I sell quality auto parts at discount prices.
Outstanding.
Fantastic.
Yeah, wow. I'm in the zone. Let's just say that.
Fair enough.
I get
Fair
it.
enough.
I own a Tesla, so there's very few parts that need maintenance in my vehicle. But Christy drives a Land Rover, so maybe she'll be a customer. Actually, the newest one's been very reliable.
We sell plenty of those too.
Yeah.
Well, I've only had it for a few months.
Yeah. But you've actually had really good luck with Land Rovers.
I have. I love them.
Yeah. So, so Rick, what's on your mind, man? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I didn't do this last time because I wasn't sure. I'd spent all the time calling in. I think last time, but so I didn't want to overwhelm you. Because it's a tender subject. But I do want to talk about Colonial Marines.
Okay, it's a favorite. Let's talk about it. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I don't know if you know this or not. You might have heard. I'm a big fan.
Awesome.
And that's no lie. For those people
great.
watching, that's no lie.
That's
true.
great. I love it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan too. And what's interesting is people that like it and like it a lot exist, and it's really hard for those that want to tear it down to even believe or acknowledge that that's true, which is so strange, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's shocking. I mean, I understand to a certain extent why some of them didn't like it, particularly the ones from the PC community, because when it did first come out, it didn't have all the nice graphics that it did after all the patches. So, I mean, I understand that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I also understand, the little bugs and stuff that popped up, how those can be annoying. But for the ones that say it wasn't like the demo that we saw at E3 or whatever, that boggles my mind, because how many games have come out that weren't exactly like what the demo showed,
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we do a trade show, especially early on, it's usually like, and the industry's a little different now, but back then, we all bring our vertical slice to the trade show, and we're going to keep painting. Right. We're going to keep painting that art, and there will be things that change. But what's interesting is, from a development standpoint, everybody involved in the project not merely believes but knows in their heart of hearts that the game that launched is significantly better than what we had when we were in vertical slice. It became a polished full game. Now, all kinds of little subtleties are different, of course, and maybe and everyone's got a different beef, right? Maybe it's an arrangement, right. But I think really it's a function of expectation management, and I also think that and expectation management is impossible. I realized, and I realized this after the fact. The idea was so good. The thing that goes in our mind when we hear Gearbox Software is going to make an official Aliens video game using the Gears of War engine, right? Like what happens in our mind is perfect, but it's different in each person. Every person's mind is. There are some people that really wanted more of a suspense horror kind of approach, more like Alien. Right, and there's some people that wanted different things out of it, and anyway, but you were gonna go somewhere, so I'll let you continue.
Oh, okay, no, no, you're absolutely right. I remember reading in the forum several times, it's like, this isn't the game we wanted, and then when Alien Isolation was being talked about, everybody was like, yes, this is the game we always wanted, and I'm like, no, it wasn't. I wanted.
Yeah. By the way, fun fact: Alien Isolation didn't do as well as Alien Colonial Marines in the marketplace, which is really interesting.
Well,
I think.
Yeah,
I think that's a testimony
it could be
to.
Because of,
go ahead. No, I was going to let you go. We were talking over each other, and so I'm going to shut up for a second.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I think a lot of it just had to do with, a lot of people probably saw it. Well, it came from Sega. It's coming from Sega, and Sega's the same people who launched Colonial Marines, so they were probably a little bit more apprehensive. I've got friends who love the game, and I bought the game. But
I don't think that's it. I think it's incidentally the marketplace is a little different than like where critics or internet chatter might lead us to believe. The market just tends to judge on the pitch. And I don't think it has anything. I don't think the result there had anything to do with the difference, any perceived difference in quality between the two games, especially from the critical point of view. I think it just had to do with the pitch. The action pitch can reach more eyes than the horror pitch. And it's just really as simple as that.
Right.
And it had not like you could make the best horror genre thing in the world, and you're not going to do as well. Like I don't know. I don't know how many movies you watch, but apparently a lot of people really liked the horror movie It.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't do horror. I never saw it.
That came out recently. The best version of,
My wife loved it.
The best version of a horror movie is not going to do as well as the best version of, say, a superhero movie, right? So, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is going to crush it in the box office, regardless of the relative quality of the two. And that's just a function of what do audiences want? What kind of entertainment do the audiences want? It has nothing to do with the individual subject matter. It's really just action is going to beat horror every time. So
Right.
I think that's really what it was about. All else was equal, right? Same franchise, same publisher. Most people don't even,
Right.
frankly, most people don't even know who Gearbox is. Like we're in a bubble because probably most of the people listening to the show are super hardcore, right? But if you go out on the street and you just ask a random person, the first thing you'll discover is they might not even be a gamer, right? Just find a random person on the street. Hey, do you play video games? They might say yes or no. Do you know about video games? Yes. You've heard of some video games? Maybe. Okay. And then I experience this all the time. Like somebody asks me what I do when they don't know what I do, right? So they already don't know me.
Right.
And I'll say, oh, I make video games. Oh, anything I know. It's like, well, do you know video games? Not really. Okay. Have you heard of Halo? Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Okay. Well, I was the executive producer on the PC version of Halo, the first Halo game. And oh, cool, that's neat. Okay, have you heard of James Bond? Yeah, I once developed a James Bond video game. That's awesome. Have you heard of the film Aliens? Yeah, I think I've heard of that. Yeah, I developed a video game in the Aliens franchise. Sweet. Have you heard of a video game called Borderlands? What? No, I haven't heard of that. Have you heard of a video game called Brothers in Arms? Yeah, I think I may have heard of that. It's like war, right? Yeah, okay. Heard of a video game called Duke Nukem? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think I heard of that. Have you heard of Homeworld? No, I've never heard of that. It's like out in the real world, people don't know. Like they haven't. Like if I say my company name, I'm with Gearbox Software. They've never heard of that. They don't know any of that. It's out in the real world where it actually matters. It's a totally different world than what we might imagine, because we might watch the kinds of people that are so invested, that are so hardcore, that they're willing to make a post on a forum, or willing to not merely read a critical review but actually write one. That's a very small subset of the population. And this is true for other things. Do you listen to music? Yeah. You maybe listen to the radio?
Every day, unfortunately. Same
That's okay.
Station.
Do you read music review websites?
No, absolutely not. I don't read any review websites.
Right. There are people that do that. Have you ever been on a forum where people are making posts about music? Have you ever posted saying, here's a new song and let me tell you why this song sucks? Like because you're a normal person when it comes to, you're a little probably more engaged with video games because you're calling me, but most people have a relationship with all content like you have with music, where you like music, you listen to it. If there's a song you like or in a genre you like, yeah, I like rock, I like rap, I don't really like country too much, or whatever, and that's about as simple as it gets. That's how most people interact with entertainment and media. And we're kind of we get to be in a little bubble, a little kind of echo chamber, because we get to interact with people that are really hardcore about it, and because we ourselves are hardcore about video games. So we've got to. It kind of helps me to keep perspective to remember that. But hey, anything else you wanted to talk about with Aliens specifically, or?
Well, I did want to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen a lot of your interviews and I've read a lot of them.
Fire away.
Concerning Colonial Marines.
Yeah.
And I've always seen you say, you've said you wish you'd had a little bit more time to polish it up.
Yeah.
And this and that. So I'm curious, if you were given the time, what would you polish up? And is there anything you might add to the game?
Yeah. So honestly, I think the best way to get detailed about that answer would require me to have more of the members of the team with me to to get more specific on that. As we were getting to it, as we were coming into alpha and beta on that title, we were experiencing a lot of pressure from Sega to try to make it in time for the holidays. And the advice that I gave them was to let us have as much time as possible after Borderlands 2 shipped to polish it. And I said, you want a minimum of 6 months after Borderlands 2 ships between when that ships, when we want to try to ship Aliens. Fortunately, retail recommended to Sega that they launch the game in February after the new year, not try to compete in the holiday, but launch it when there weren't many other titles in February. And so that gave us a couple more months than we would have had otherwise. But we could have done with more. And I think if there was maybe 3 more months of development, you would have launched with the first PC patch. You would have had a lot more polish and frankly bugs. And so much of it's really interesting that where little subtle things can take down an experience for some people. Some of us will forgive it if we're having a good time, but other people, every little bug adds up, and every game ships with bugs. But the more time you have to polish it, the better you can get. But to get really specific, I think we need the team. My role on that was I was an enabler, I was an executive producer, but I didn't have much to do with the actual development of the game, which was kind of nice, frankly, because I got to enjoy the experience almost like a customer. I wasn't perfectly objective, but I wasn't so heavily invested in it that I couldn't see it from the outside. And so so that was fun. But yeah, I mean, in general, it's just you want to be able to dedicate the right kind of launch team for the right amount of time to bring a product in for landing, and we were under a bit of pressure there. And what's interesting about it too was, we weren't getting any more financing from Sega. It wasn't like we were trying to get more money out of them. I was covering all the development at that point. Fortunately, we'd been very successful with Borderlands, and when Borderlands 2 launched, that was immediately successful. So I was able to afford to invest some of the money we had made from other games into the development of Aliens on top of the budget that Sega had provided. But the other thing too is it's for what it was and for what we were working with. Like that's where my objectivity is weak, because it's actually an astonishing achievement given everything. But the market doesn't care. The market's going to compare it with everybody else's titles, and it is an action first-person shooter, and it didn't have like role-playing elements like Borderlands did, right? So its most direct competitor, frankly, was Call of Duty, and Call of Duty way out production valued us, right? Like probably 3 times the overall budget for the Call of Duty game that launched right before Aliens Colonial Marines. And so it's just in the broader market, outside of like the hardcore enthusiasts, but the broader market where it actually matters, we were at a severe disadvantage there. And by the way, that advantage could have been dampened even more if we would have launched it a couple months later. What I think though, I think Sega was in a race, right? Because it was an Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Windows PC game, and the new consoles were going to come. There was going to be a PlayStation 4 and an Xbox One, and they were going to come that holiday season. That was 2013. And so Sega was playing a game of chicken, and that was tough. I mean, maybe a different decision would have been to take even more time and make them launch titles for the new platforms and support all the platforms, and that could have been a different level of investment. But everyone can Monday morning quarterback the thing, but I think that, like, hindsight, you can maybe do a couple things, but in the middle of it, I thought we did the best we could, and I thought I was giving Sega the best influence and advice that I could at the time, and I think hindsight even confirms that even more. But I'm still proud of the title, and I'm really glad it exists, and I'm glad to have been a part of it. Did that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, it sure does.
Cool, man. Hey, awesome. Well, if it's okay, maybe I'll talk to you some other time. Thanks for calling back, but I'm gonna take another caller.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Sounds good.
All right. Cheers.
Good talking to you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was boring for you, Christy. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I was putting out, I was having conversation with my GM.
So you're putting out other fires?
Yeah.
Cool. Here's a guy who wants to talk about getting music into video games. And let's take that one. How's that sound? Cool. Hey, this is Randy. You're on the air. Is this Joey?
This is Joey. How's it going?
Hey, Joey. Thanks for calling. You're calling from Ohio? What part of Ohio are you calling from?
Marysville, Ohio.
Where is Marysville? I'm not familiar with that city.
It's about an hour from Columbus.
Oh, I'm
in the middle.
I'm going to be up in Columbus in a couple of weeks at the at a magic convention called Magifest, and I will be there.
What's it called?
Magifest, MAGI Fest, Magifest. It's a magic convention.
Okay.
And Christy's
crazy random.
I keep trying to get Christy to go, but
I went.
She went once, and she's like, "That's enough."
Off my bucket list.
Yes, but it's really nerdy magician stuff, but I like it. I like it.
Oh no, I have played in the past.
So what's the weather like up there? Am I going to freeze my butt off?
If it doesn't change, yeah.
All right. That's
yes,
something
you
I'm
will.
looking. All right. Hey, well, what's on your mind, man? What do you want to talk about, Joey?
First off, it's a pleasure. The whole Borderlands universe is by far my favorite.
Wow.
Borderlands 2 is my favorite game. It is amazing.
That's incredible.
And
Thanks so much.
No, thank you, because many hours. But yeah, I do music.
Cool.
Rock, punk, alternative band from Ohio.
Awesome.
And although that is my passion, gaming is also my passion.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to stop putting music out there, trying to go down that road. But I would absolutely love to pair that with gaming in some way or another.
Yeah. Send me a track, man. Send me something. Let me listen to what you guys sound like.
I would love to.
Okay. Let's see. On the website, on the gearboxsoftware.com website, there's a contact us page, and there's a web form. Pull it down to other, and then write a little note saying, "Hey, I talked to Randy on the air. I'm trying to get a hold of him. I said I had some music, and I wanted him to listen to my music." And then I'll get that, and I'll reply to you, and then you'll have my email address. And then you can attach me something or send me a link, and I'll listen to your music. And I can either give you some tips or maybe I'll like what you got. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. It's going to be like a lotto thing for you. And but we got a lot of different games. And in fact, there's this game that we're working on, and you said kind of like rock with punk influence. There's a game that we're working on that's kind of a secret project that we did a private alpha test of it under the name Project 1v1. And it needs some high energy music, I think, in it. And we haven't really picked any music for it yet. And I don't know. We could take a risk with something. We'll see. I don't know. Let me listen to your sound, and I'll if I like it, I'll pass it along to the director of the project, and if he likes it, he'll pass it around to the audio director, and if we like it enough, and like how much stuff have you created? Like how much music? You guys do a lot of covers? You do original?
We've honestly we've only done a few covers, and the only one we actually put up was the Ain't No Rest for the Wicked.
Oh, far out.
Crazy as that is.
Okay.
But we have.
Let me ask you: Did you discover that song through our game?
I sure did.
That's awesome. What do you think of Cage the Elephant? Those guys are rad, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Sweet.
That song is awesome. Cage the Elephant is phenomenal.
They won a Grammy last year, 2017. They're freaking Grammy Award winners now. They weren't even on the map when I found them. I love those guys. So send me some stuff. I love that it's original. You guys, have you ever played around like think you'd be willing to make like demos or just try some stuff and riff with us? Like if we were,
Of course.
well, let me listen to your sound. Let me see if we're in the frickin' sport. And if we're in the
Now-
sport, then we'll try to get in the ballpark. And if we're in the ballpark, then we'll see if we can get a base hit or something.
That is amazing. And my phone is stupid, and it cut out right after you said contact us.
Okay.
The Gearbox website page, contact us.
Yeah. So go to the contact page, and it's a pull down page, and it's a web form basically. And pull down to other. You'll get there's some options like who do you want to contact or what. So pull down to other, and just write a little note in there saying, hey, I'm Joey. I talked to Randy on his podcast. I've got some music he wanted to listen to, and send that along. And I'll get it, and I will reply to that. And then you'll have my email.
Awesome.
And with that, you can send me a link or you can attach something.
Deal.
And we'll go from there, man. We'll go from there. And good luck to you. I love that.
Thank you. That
I love
sounds
that
amazing, and you are awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. I can't wait to hear your sound, dude. I love it. And by the way, whether or not we end up choosing it, just keep on making stuff, man.
Sure.
Like, I found out too is, I got lucky a few times, and some of the things I've worked on have reached an audience. But I got into game making long before there was ever any money and ever an audience in it. I just love games, and if you love music the same way and just keep at it, it'll happen. So
You're awesome.
Right on, dude. Hey, good talking to you, Joey. Thanks for your call, man.
Thank you so much, man.
Cool. Cheers. I'm curious. I'm actually I'm sincere about that, Christy. I think like Project Run V1 could have some cool tracks. And there was a game that came out that not many people have heard of, and I'm gonna get it wrong. It's a space flight game, but not from a cockpit view. It's kind of, and it was called Rogue. I think it was called Rogue Galaxy.
Oh, I remember when you were playing that.
And they had all this cool, awesome original music that they worked with this band, and they just made these cool tracks. So there's this fucking cool, like rock playing while I'm flying through space, and it made the game cooler, And it took just some up and coming group that was willing to kind of take a risk and make some sound, and I can't imagine they made very much before the game launched, but I discovered the music through it, and I bet a bunch of other people did, and now that band's probably doing better because they did that. So we'll see what happens. Hey, I'm gonna take this guy Boris. He wants to talk about Aliens, Colonial Marines too. Sorry, Christy. Do you want to? Before I do you want to talk about something? How's it going in the restaurant next door? What's your I'm curious what your fires are.
It wasn't really fires. It was just an update because Kathy went home because she opened today, and so she.
Kathy's the general manager at Nerdvana.
Dude, she's so fucking baller.
We're not regulated by the FCC, are we, Evan? So we can say fucking baller. All right.
She was giving me an update on our Bitcoin group.
Oh, how is that?
I mean, I've spent more on sushi than this group of people spent.
Cryptocurrency people are cheap? What?
She's like, they're drinking a lot of coffee. So it's fine. It's just amusing.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah.
I've spent more on sushi than they've.
It's fine.
Wasn't it supposed to be like a massive group?
Yeah, 70 people, I think, and we wanted them, according to them.
According to them.
Yeah, you're really going to want us to come here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, what are you going to do?
That's hilarious.
I mean, we get a lot of meetups and we get a lot of big groups, and it's awesome. Like, we're totally happy. But, occasionally we get people who are sort of a little bit more entitled. They feel like their group is particularly special or particularly meaningful or pertinent to what we're doing.
Well, every group's special, but that one of the things people I think miscall is bringing a person into the business actually is a cost to you.
Right.
And unless they buy something, it's a negative value.
Correct.
So just having bodies is not helpful.
No. It takes resources.
Yeah, it takes resources.
Yeah,
and it's a tricky thing, and I've had to learn this the hard way in the video game business, and I imagine it's even harder in food service. The whole secret is you've got to make more than you spend. And if you spend more than you make, the dream ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think people overestimate the amount that they're going to spend or that the people that they're bringing in are going to spend. I think people think, oh, when you have this many numbers, think about the volume that they're going to buy. And the truth is it's almost like the phenomenon where if somebody needs help, the bigger the crowd, the less likely they're going to get help. It's kind of like that. The bigger the group, the less people feel obligated to spend. So the bigger the group and the less they feel obligated to tip. Our servers don't want to do big parties.
It's also, the other thing too, I think, is that's not what they're there for. When you have a normal patron that's here because, oh wow, this is a cool place, I can play video games.
Right.
There's a great menu. There's a cool bar with all these craft cocktails and craft beers. They're there for what it's there for.
Right.
And they are there because they want to eat and they want to drink.
Right.
Whereas if you have a group that's there because we just want to talk about cryptocurrency, they're not there to eat and drink.
Correct.
And they may not.
That is correct.
So
they're going to drink refillable coffees and
Yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting, but I mean, it's a Sunday afternoon, so who cares, right?
Yes.
I mean,
who cares indeed. All right. Well, let's talk to Boris here, who wants to talk about Aliens, Colonial Marines from a development standpoint. Hey, this is Randy. Boris, you're on the air. Boris, where are you calling from?
Good to talk to you. Before I ask my question, I just want a moment of silence for a friend of mine that's passed. Mr. Jace Connors, he crashed his car while on the I-95 in a street racing accident, so I just want to raise awareness of the dangers of street racing.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
My poor friend, Jace Connors.
I'm very sorry to hear that, Boris.
But anyway.
I'm very sorry for your loss.
Anyways, I wanted to ask you. Yes. I wanted to ask you. You said that you had a lot of excitement along the way and that you were rushed for the development of Aliens Colonial Marines. Yet,
well, I don't know if I put it that way.
Sega wanted a street date of 2008 street date.
But
it ended up being released
I don't know
in
if I
2013 after 7 years of
Yeah,
so 5 years of development, 6 years you got the deal from Sega. On top of that, your studio Gearbox, it did, according to you yourself, outside of pre-production, only 1/4 of the actual development.
Okay.
On top of that, there are allegations that your studio moved people off of the project for Borderlands around 2008. Is that correct?
Okay. So Boris, we'll talk about each thing. You've stacked a few things there. So first, you said that I said that we were rushed. I wouldn't categorize it like that. At the point where the game that was going to ship was known and was coming in for a landing, you get to an alpha point in development. In an alpha, you're feature complete and you know what the game is. Then the next state is beta, where you're locked down and you're bug fix only, and then you try to get to certification and ultimately clear it for manufacturing. It's at the moment where the game was known, the time between alpha and when it launched was more compressed than I would have liked. I wished we would have had more time for that. And traditionally, more time between those two phases has better results, and that's consistent with all of our experience. Now, the time between when the game was announced and when it launched, that's a whole different thing, and there's a whole lot of reasons for that. Now, when the deal was first conceived of, Sega and Fox were very, very eager to announce that deal to the world. Now, I unfortunately did not negotiate in my bargain an approval right over such an announcement, so I could not veto their announcement. But I did caution against it, and I did weigh in. I said, this is a mistake to announce the game because we haven't even written a line of code yet, and you're now creating a customer expectation when we don't even know what the game is and have no idea when it's going to come. And I think that was a mistake, and it proved to be a big mistake. In fact, it created massive expectations out of the gate. I believe our first public showing of anything Aliens was either in 2010 or 2011, which was which would be 2 or 3 years from the eventual launch, and that was our vertical slice. And I you might know better than me. I don't recall when that first E3 was, but that and I think the development cycle overall was very reasonable, very typical of that kind of game. I don't think it was long or short.
Very typical. 7 years, 5 yeers. It was 7 years.
Yeah, I don't think you listened to anything I just said then, Boris. I don't know if you heard anything I just said then. All right.
Well, you said that you had about 2 years then, but you didn't have very much, but it took you about 3 years. Now, one thing that I will note is that you have said otherwhere that it was only a quarter of the development.
I don't think I've ever said that.
The sources I've read.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever said that, but I don't.
Do the
Hey Boris.
campaign.
Hey Boris. Hey Boris. Hey Boris. Hey Boris, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
yeah. So I don't
Brandy,
think. Oh boy, I don't think
I'm sorry. This is my second language, my friend.
I understand. I don't think I ever said exactly a quarter, because in fact I don't know. I don't know what the total development effort is. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Where you said that.
Yeah. Okay.
Houston-based Gate Studios worked about around 20-25% of the total time, and you also noted that ignoring pre-production, your effort was probably equivalent to theirs.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that sounds a little more accurate if you put the qualifier of of removing pre-production from it, and you're probably also only talking about the single player campaign, but I don't think it matters. What's the point?
Okay.
Let's say it's 100%. Let's say it's 100% or 0%. Hold on. Stop, Boris. Can you stop for a second? I asked you a question.
Stop what? When? Who? What? Where? What? Why?
Okay, listen to me. I asked you a question. What does it matter if it's? Let's say. My question is, what does it matter if it's 100% gearbox or 0% gearbox? What does it matter? Why did you make that point? You made like several points in a row.
I'm not sure it matters that much.
What is the point you're trying to make? Like, why are you saying that?
Given who had the actual developer fucking thing at the beginning of the game? Who was credited with all of that hard work? I'm saying that it might be a bit unfair to those smaller studios who have to work basically ghost writing, ghost coding, ghost level designing for a larger studio who gets all the credit.
What credit are you talking about?
The credit of making the game.
So what are you trying to make what's the point you're trying to make? Why don't you what's the point you're trying to make? Like are you trying to say that like because if the point is, I mean, as far as I know, the game is very forthright, both in the title card credits and in the end credits about who contributed to it.
Another thing is that regarding the development.
Hey Boris. Hey Boris. Hey Boris.
Yes, excuse me.
I'm super happy.
Are you trying to interrupt me?
I am super happy to have a conversation with you, but it has to be a conversation. Okay. Like if you throw a point out there and I address it, and you don't help me understand what you're looking for or where it's going, but you just move on to the next thing, then this isn't exactly a conversation. So no, let's not move on to that. Let's not move to something else. Let's figure why did you bring up the point you brought up about who developed what and how much time?
Why did I bring it up?
Yes.
About who is credited, who is really responsible behind that, because I feel it is something that's unfair to smaller developers.
What's unfair to smaller developers?
Really get into what are you interrupting me with this time?
what is unfair? Like is your argument that somehow Gearbox has been benefited because some other developer contributed to an effort? Like is this your argument? Aliens Colonial Marines was a massive success, and whoever is responsible for it is going to
make based off of the questions I'm asking. You're free to do so. This is sort of my conclusions, but I want things.
So
out there that
if you're just going to state conclusions, we shouldn't have this conversation.
I want clarification, mostly.
Boris,
people come to their own conclusions.
Boris.
My conclusion isn't that important. Yes, my friend.
Oh, you're amazing. If this
I'm amazing. What's so amazing?
Because you called me your friend. I don't think we know each other.
Yes. Thank you very much, my friend. I am your friend.
Okay. Well, thank
We're
you,
all
Boris.
friends.
Well, if you're my friend, then let's have a conversation as friends. You were interested in who did what kind of contribution for the development of that game, and you seem to have a claim behind it, which is a smaller developer that's a contributing developer is treated unfairly. That was a claim, and I assure you that isn't the case in this game. In the case of Aliens Colonial Marines,
it was a worry that I had about that.
Well, let me
and I'm glad that you bring that to rest. Bring that worry to rest.
Well, let me put a nail in it. Give me a moment to put a nail in it. There was a studio. There were two studios that primarily helped us, but many others. And this is not uncommon for AAA development. There's lots of studios involved. So in the case of Aliens, there was a studio in Houston called Timegate Studios, which did a lot of work after pre-production in the production of the game for the single-player campaign. There was another group in Boston called Demiurge Studios, which did a lot of work in the multiplayer part of the game. And both of these studios are credited in the upfront credits and in the end credits. Not merely the studios, but all of the individuals involved. I've also been very comfortable in my own statements about the game to acknowledge and represent them. Now, I've never shifted blame. There are some people that do not like the game Aliens, and I've seen people suggest that I've blamed other developers for them not liking the game, and that's not the case. Gearbox is accountable for the development. We were responsible for the development. Sega is the publisher. We're actually accountable to Sega because Sega hired Gearbox as a work for hire. And Gearbox hired some other developers as a work for hire. And all of that's on the up and up, and it's all part of the process. There are some people that are very good at different aspects of development, and we work with them all the time on different projects. I think where any tension there comes is because there are some people that did not like the game, and they were surprised that they did not like it. And they tried to come up with answers for why they were surprised. It was not easy enough for them to just accept that Gearbox was involved in a game they didn't like. So they came up with other reasons. Some decided, well, it's because these other guys did it and they didn't do as good a job as Gearbox, or because Gearbox didn't care as much as they cared about other things like Borderlands or whatever. And none of that's true. It just turns out expectations vary and results vary, and some people really love the game and some people don't, and that's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
One question. Was the quality assurance
Fifth
for
questions.
Colonial Marines done? Yeah, I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
Was the quality assurance for Aliens Colonial Marines done in-house, or was that outsourced as well?
So Sega, the publisher, typically provides certification, quality assurance, and that's Sega. And I don't know, that was invisible to me. I don't know how many people they had, where they were located, or how much time that was invested in that. Now, Gearbox also has some quality assurance, and that those folks did a fine job as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. You would say that they did a good job then?
The people at Gearbox, I'm absolutely convinced they did a good job. And in fact, I think our awareness of what quality assurance is there to provide for us is one of the reasons why I'm confident in saying that I wished we had a little bit more time between the point of alpha and the point of RTM. I think the game deserved a little more time at that in that section, and I think it's our quality assurance team that helps me believe that.
Okay. Now, moving on.
Well, hey Boris, I'm almost out of time, and like, do you have an overall point, or is there something you're?
One thing I want to conclude on,
because I do have another caller I'd like to.
Piso mojado. Or wet. Piso mojado.
Did we just get cursed or something?
I don't know. Well, thank you, Boris. That was fascinating. Do you think that was real?
I don't know.
I think it was real.
I didn't find it fascinating.
No, it was fascinating that this person was fixated on a few things, and that's how they chose to spend their time with me.
I think you should have just, once you realized that you were
irrelevant
to the conversation,
yeah,
you should have just been like, all right, you got 90 seconds, give me your conclusions, and then we'll move on with our lives.
I think it was sincere. I don't know
I
that
believe so too,
I don't know that Boris understood though. Like what a conversation is. I think he wanted to make a point rather than ask a question.
Right. Yeah, I don't think you were relevant at all to the entire interaction.
But what it was fascinating to me was some of the mischaracterizations. Right there's this attempt, I think, for those that want to hate, to construe or to misconstrue ideas and press them into the service of a negative point of view.
But if the idea is that Aliens was not what this person wanted, yet they also feel that other developers should get credit, like that
there was a weird non sequitur.
Loop around was really
there was
confusing.
A weird non sequitur, like clearly. I mean, without knowing, he didn't actually state what his position was, but he wanted to talk about Aliens, and his first two questions were about the time it was in development, and he I think what he believed he was doing was, in his mind, I think he discovered what he believes is a contradiction between the idea that the game deserved a little more time at the end versus the fact that it was announced so early on. There was a large amount of time between when it was first announced and when it launched, and that seems like a contradiction. In reality, there's no contradiction. Development's a process, and each phase of the process is what it is. And in fact, the first phase of the process was very slow and tumultuous. But as the game got along, the last phase was in fact compressed. It was a very compressed period between alpha and RTM, and more compressed than it should have been, more compressed than you want to do when you make a game, a AAA game. But
I think I understood all of that.
Yeah,
I think Boris didn't.
I'm restating it because I think Boris might be listening, and I think other people might be listening.
Play back and
I think other people might be listening because I think that contradiction's been played with before, because it's not a contradiction. It's there is no contradiction. It's a very natural thing. But what was odd was the other thing you caught on to, which is if you're going to attack that angle, you're attacking it because you think that the result deserves an attack. So to then jump onto this whole like who is the developer question, who gets credit, like that's really interesting. Like, are we good? Like there's some people, I've seen people vilify me personally and Gearbox for simultaneously for blaming some of the other developers that helped, like Timegate, or not giving them enough credit.
Right.
It can't be both.
Well, per person it can, I guess.
Yeah.
Everybody can decide for themselves.
Yeah, so some people have decided it's one and some people decided the other, but in fact, these are mutually exclusive ideas. But in fact, there was no shadiness there. There's an absolute upfront representation of the people involved in this project, and it's an absolutely natural thing for people to be involved in a project like that. These are big efforts, and they get lots of folks involved.
So Nolan is scolding me for disparaging our large parties.
Are we being broadcast there? Or can they?
Nolan's watching it from home.
That's hilarious. Nolan is
appreciate
the marketing director, and I get what's his actual title with that Nerdvana?
Yeah, director of marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's funny.
He's like, quit talking shit about our groups. Except he didn't say shit. I know. Sorry, Nolan.
You know, I'm actually.
I'll be better.
I'm not going to take the last Discord call. I think I think I'm going to give it a 50% chance of being a troll.
Probably 75% chance.
And I think we're gonna. And I think we're just about wrapped up here. So I think what we should do is find a topic that's guaranteed that both you and I can be engaged in. Because I mean, I'm so thankful that you've tolerated this. There's been a few people that have called that have been like, you're on your phone, just absolutely bored out of your mind.
It's not that I've been entirely bored. It's that. I mean, we've been together for 27 years. It's a very long time. So
we're just getting started.
A lot of the talking points are familiar to me. Also, you know, I've sort of ridden this roller coaster with you with people being excited about Borderlands, and I absolutely am equally as excited about, you know, new content coming out
as a customer.
And exactly. And I'm, you know, fatigued of the aliens thing.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting that people still want to talk about that.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like also, you know, I am in between my two businesses, so I'm constantly looking around, making sure that, you know, like, I mean, I'm at work, so it's distracting.
So what do you think game development could learn from restaurant management?
Oh my gosh. You know, it's such a different beast, because the thing about game development, which, you know, is you work on something for a long time. And then, I mean, you kind of are getting hints about how people feel about it through, you know, testing and things like that. And, you know, showing it off at conventions. But for the most part, you finish it and then you send it out and everybody sees it. Restaurants and coffee shops.
You have no idea until it's over.
Yeah. And then you're just like, you know, wow, I put all this into this. I hope people love it. You know, a restaurant is different in that you build it. So you have that development time.
Sure.
But you have an almost daily opportunity and maybe disadvantage to adapt. And you have every customer comes in with an expectation of what their experience is going to be. And, you know, a lot of customers just come in and they look around and they're like, wow, this is a thing. And they experience it and go about their business, and we never hear from them. You know, we just,
the middle of the bell curve.
Yeah. And then, you know, we have those that come in and they're like, oh my gosh, this is like my dream place. And, you know, the food and the cocktails, and we get to play games at our table, and it's so amazing. And, you know, they're enthusiastic and they love it. And then we get people that come in and, you know, are just, this isn't what we expected. We thought that this was an arcade and we could send our kids to play while we drink at the bar. And, you know,
they wanted Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, they wanted Dave and Buster's. And then we have to, you know, go, well, that's not what this is.
You should go to Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, that's not what we are. And then we have people that it's, you know, it's not even special to what we're doing, the video games. It's, you know, I wish you had fried rice. I wish you had, you know, like things on the that we just don't have on the menu. And a lot of times it's things that we would never have. It's just not even the type of food. So those sort of in like constant daily feedbacks.
I love fried rice. Why don't you have fried rice on the menu?
I mean, you can go back there and cook some fried rice whenever you want.
Yeah, so
that kind of thing is
the
different.
Constant, immediate feedback. I think I wish we had that in video games.
No, you don't.
No,
you don't.
No, we could do a better job, though.
But because you can't adapt to everybody's desires.
True, everyone's different. No matter
and you have to stay true to your vision. I mean, the truth is if I pivoted every time somebody had a different opinion about what I should be or what I should do, I would be changing every day. You can't. You have to just go, you know, I mean, I could do little pivots like, okay, your burger didn't come out the way you wanted it to. We can fix that.
Sure.
But like the idea of we're going to become something else entirely, or we're going to take your idea, you have to just, you know, look straight ahead and stay true to your vision.
So in that regard, it's a lot like art.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's, and you have to shut out the noise and just, you know, have confidence in what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm really glad that you created these places. Like, I love it. I'm so stoked because, like, the food's really good.
It is.
First of all.
Very proud of it.
And it's so convenient for me. Like, I literally get to walk downstairs and I'm in this probably, you know, top 5 restaurant in Frisco.
Yeah, our food program is extraordinary.
Yeah, and it's
stellar.
nerdy like me, so it's great.
Yep.
So I'm really grateful that you're doing it. So I don't know if we should have this discussion on the air, but you said something to me yesterday. You think that the next thing isn't necessarily to create our public variety arts venue, but instead to do more Nerdvanas.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I kind of had a feeling this was going to come up today. I thought about this on the drive over. I'm like, Randy's going to throw this bomb at me, and I got to figure out how I'm going to deal with it.
I'm cool. I'm down with that.
You know,
I'm down with it. Actually,
I feel like
I think there's something here, and I think it's okay to develop more expertise with this and to get this thing on lock and to get it running more before we take on a totally new concept.
Yeah, I think the coffee shop, board game stuff that we have going on here, the systems that we have, and
it's magic.
It's so phenomenal.
So just so you guys know, Christy and I have a theater called the Peacock Theater, and we have magic shows and variety shows and like jugglers, all kinds of awesome, crazy weirdos, our people. And because magic's another part of our lives and variety is another part of our lives we really like. And so the thought was that we'd create a public venue, kind of like the Magic Castle in Hollywood, but it would be not just magic. It would also have variety like America's Got Talent kind of stuff. And you can go and have dinner and see a show and hang out in a lounge in a bar and maybe see multiple shows. And that would be the next thing that we did after Nerdvana. But Nerdvana is calling. It sounds like you want to do more Nerdvana.
I think I do. I mean, you know, I've managed to, I don't know, sort of stumble upon this phenomenal team of people.
It's the team, no doubt, that makes like that. It's what we get up in the morning for. Is the people we get to work with.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
And by the way, I can't say this enough. And I think I said it at least once during the call. There are a lot of people give praise about Borderlands. There's a lot of talk about the games that Gearbox make, and almost everyone that cares is caring because maybe Gearbox games have to reach you. It is a team effort, and the people that I get to work with every day at Gearbox are what animates me, what makes me care about coming to work every day. And there's so many awesome, great, talented people that are really what's behind the magic. And we need to acknowledge them, and it's true in any effort.
100%.
Any team effort.
My staff is phenomenal. My executive team is holy crap. I love coming into work every day because of them.
That's awesome.
So
the thing though too, I think there's a real business opportunity. I think you've really stumbled upon something here, and the coffee shop is already there. Like it could be franchised immediately.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
So let's so where do you want to do the second location? Like it's a balance.
Committing to it right now.
Do you want to go closer so it's more accessible and it's easier to kind of move things back and forth and use some of the same staff back and forth, or do you want to go farther to reach a totally different market?
You know, I definitely want to reach a different market. I really am excited to take it out of the suburbs.
Okay. See what it's like in some more of a downtown, uptown.
I like the idea of sort of looking around DFW because it is close and accessible, and you know, it's for purposes of just getting there and that, you know, I like that idea, and being able to use my resources for staff and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I there's something really exciting to me too about learning about a whole new market outside of Texas. And, you know, we have so many friends in California. We have so many friends in other places.
Did you just say outside of Texas?
I mean...
Like, what do you mean?
I mean, not for immediate, but I love the idea of you know, figuring out maybe something where I already have,
you want to go to LA, don't you?
I might want to go to LA.
All right. Okay. Well, it sounds like Christy and I have something to talk about. Hey, listen, I think we've done it. I think we're out of time, but thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the At Nerdvana podcast. And I hope you tune in next time. Cheers. Thanks, everybody.